YouTube, hey, Casey Dimon here, TaxSaleAcademy.com. Thank you so much for joining me as I record this episode of the Tax Sale Podcast. If you enjoy listening to podcasts, be sure you check out TaxSalePodcast.com, which is linked down below in the description, and you can take us on the go. Let's go ahead and switch on over to the audio portion of this podcast. Welcome to the Tax Sale Podcast, where tax sale investing is made easy. I'm Casey Dimon. I'm a tax sale veteran, expert, trainer, author of the Tax Sale Playbook, and founder of the Tax Sale Academy. I'm your host right here on the Tax Sale Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on today's podcast. And as always, at the conclusion of this podcast, if you're looking to learn more about investing in tax-defaulted real estate, head on over to TaxSaleAcademy.com. Again, that's TaxSaleAcademy.com. The title of today's episode is Convenience Leaves Clues. So last week, we discussed small town tax sale investing. We've also discussed investing in other states, auction formats, choosing your best state, some barriers to entry, OTC properties, scaling your business, and lots of other stuff. If you listen to each one of these episodes carefully, somewhere you'll figure out that in order to be successful as a tax sale investor, you have to be able to find properties that leave room for potential profits. Just buy it for less than you can sell it for, and what's left over is your profit. Pretty simple, right? Well, it really is. But what happens is I believe almost all humans, and maybe it's a part of human nature, they become a little bit complacent, or perhaps, should I even say it, maybe a little bit lazy. We want the best properties that will provide the most potential profit to you with the absolute least amount of effort required. And in fact, if there's no effort at all required and they just fall in our lap, yep, that's going to be even better for us. And you know it's true, right? And I can tell you, as a tax sale educator, it is absolutely true. You would not believe the ridiculous emails that I get from people who want to get into tax sale investing and who want to make millions of dollars, yet they want to do it while being as lazy as possible. Typically, the way it works is the more convenient the entire process is, the less successful you'll be at acquiring great deals. The less convenient it is, the more successful you'll be at acquiring deals. I can really just end this episode right here, right now, and if you'd focus just on those last two sentences alone, you'd be successful. But it's important to understand how to make it work for your business, okay? I've been to auctions where they'll provide a list well in advance that will contain addresses, photos, descriptions, and all sorts of other helpful information. Some will even link up the property assessor's reports, GIS maps, aerial maps, and I've even seen auctions that provide you with a copy of the surveys. It is quite amazing. Then I'll go to these auctions, and they'll be held in big auditoriums. They'll have stages and 3 or 4 huge projector screens with these photos on them. Then they'll have bidder assistants calling out all the bids in the rooms. They'll have thousands of different people bidding on properties, both in the room and also simulcast online. It is absolutely insane. But man, it is so easy, right? It's so convenient. Just hope that their information is correct. Show up, maybe online or in person, buy some properties, and leave. That's it, right? Except it doesn't work like that. These are the same auctions where every single winner will probably have overspent, where people will lose money, where people will leave with a bad taste in their mouths about tax sale investing. It is those auctions. Then, I've been to auctions where it's been so inconvenient that if I had any hair left on my head, I would pull every single hair out, guys. These are the counties where you must go to every single county office and look up every single detail about a piece of, and I'm talking about physically looking stuff up in their huge binders, okay? Then they'll require you to pre-register well in advance of the auction by showing up in person, maybe 2-3 weeks ahead of time. Then when the auction day is finally there, they're going to require you to show up again in order to bid. And guess what? As much of a pain as it is, these are the auctions where I see the most success. If you must attend an auction in person and there isn't one offered online, that means that everybody must attend that auction in person. This eliminates all the online bidders, which means fewer bidders, less competition, lower prices, and higher profits. So your goal should almost be to find the auctions that are at the very edge of your comfort level. I'm talking about the auctions where they are not so convenient to everyone that they drop off bidders by the busload. And of course, this goes for the research phase as well. So when you're choosing a new county, keep this in mind. If the research phase is difficult for you, this means that's going to be difficult for everybody else, which means there'll be fewer people who will put the work in to research the property, which again ultimately results in fewer bidders, lower prices, less competition, and higher profits. Don't automatically skip an entire county just because they're stuck in the 90s and they don't have that much information available online. Remember that if you aren't able to access it easily, nobody else can either. So push forward and figure out a way to research properties and find the information that you need. If you can, while others aren't able to because they don't want to take that effort, that extra effort, and do it themselves, you'll have such a leg up on everybody else. Now, obviously, if it's too inconvenient for you, then it might not be worth your effort based on your available capital, time, and objectives, but everybody's just a little bit different. But if it's right there at the edge of being inconvenient for you and everybody else, push forward and make it work, and I promise you, the results might just be surprising and very profitable for you. And remember what I said at the very beginning of this podcast. The more convenient it is for you, the more convenient it will be for your competition as well, and the more you'll end up paying. The less convenient for you, the less convenient for your competition, and the less you'll end up paying. Convenience definitely leaves clues. Guys, that's it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening. When you're ready to start and when you want to access our comprehensive step-by-step training, head on over to TaxSaleAcademy.com. Again, that's TaxSaleAcademy.com, and click on that join button. And guys, before I end today's podcast, just wanted to give you a quick reminder that we would really appreciate your positive feedback if you are enjoying our free trainings. Guys, that's it for today, and make it a successful one. Take care. Bye-bye.